Dude, did you know you can subscribe to onlywrestlers.com and keep in touch with your favorite wrestlers? The party never has to end.
Rob Van Dam! Rob Van Dam! Rob Van Dam!
I'm Rob Van Dam. The whole show.
Fully, we're here. Okay. I gotta check this intro out. It's like laggy on my end all the time. But it's a Thursday night. That means it's trash night. But it also means it's one of a kind. With who? It's with RVD. Rob Van Dam. Rob, how are you doing, man?
Good, dude. Happy Thursday to you.
Happy Thursday.
Thankful Thursday, Dominator.
Yeah.
Thankful for you, bro.
Thanks. I'm thankful for you too, Rob. It's so nice to be here with you. It's very windy in Pittsburgh right now. Hopefully, yeah, you're setting the chaos for me. Hopefully, we'll be good for the show. If we cut out, that's the end of the show for this week because I won't have power probably.
Hey, it won't be the first time. At least we're seasoned vets at this. We know what to do.
Yeah, we can figure it out one way or another for sure. But we're live. We're live here on RVDTV.com on Rob Van Dam's YouTube channel as well. So be sure to like, subscribe to both of those. And hey, we're live on RVD's X account too. So if you have questions, feel free to chime on in. Use the super chat. That will definitely get them asked. I always try to keep my eyes peeled. But shout out to some folks in the chat here. Michael Volonio is in the house. Triple E's in the house. Scuba Steve. Cal Z, the Mafia expert, along with RVD. And then we got Ricky Jordan, Maddie Marijuana, our boy Maddie, Steve Soleil, and much, much more. So, guys, get your questions in. And you can do the super chats, Steve, at RVDTV.com. They're accessible. I think you can do them at Rob Van Dam's YouTube channel.
And I wonder if Kyle Z is aware that there's a movie on the DeMeo crew. I mentioned it last week, but I didn't know until last week. I just stumbled across it. It was made in 2023, and we talked about it, but I didn't see if he responded by, I know that's where I get all my shit from, or,
Yeah.
Inside Man, it's called. Not the Denzel Washington 2006 movie, but Inside Man 2023, which, by the way, made by the same guy that made Mob Cops, which I'm watching right now. I'm halfway through. I was watching it in the gym before the podcast, and I'm about halfway through. And I like it. I like that guy's work.
How's David Arquette in it so far?
He's good. He plays Steven Caracappa. They changed the names, which always takes a little something away. Not necessarily from the story, but a little bit from the takeaway. You know what I mean? Like it's weird that people know Nicky Santoro, but they don't know Tony Spilatro, and that's the real guy, and so that's weird for me. But I know you get a lot more freedom with not using a person's real name and stuff. But yeah, no, David Arquette's good. He's dry, and Steven Caracappa was just like the serious, less loud and boisterous one. And they and he was skinny. It was a lot like Laurel and Hardy. Who?
I know, right?
I know that's a reference from the 70s. I don't think I know who Laurel and Hardy were, but fat guy, skinny guy. Who else is there to compare that to that are buddies?
Yeah, that's your best comparison. I think you can even do to them.
Do you remember Laurel and Hardy?
Oh yeah, I remember Laurel and Hardy. Yeah, Talkies. That's a little after Talkies, but
Talkies. Yeah, actually, Laurel Canyon is right there in Pittsburgh. And
oh yeah,
that was named after Laurel from Three Stooges. Did you?
No, I had no idea.
I don't know if that's true.
That'd be neat though. That'd be neat.
It might be.
You would blew my mind if that was the case.
It might be. Anyway, Mob Cops. I'm halfway through, and I'm enjoying it because I know the story, and they seemed. So far, it looks like they changed the order around a little bit because they made it look like the Mob Cops whacked Eddie Leno on their first assignment with the mob, and then. But I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe they're gonna come full circle back to it. But anyway, nobody knows what I'm talking about if you don't know the story, so I don't want to get too much into it. But check it out, Kyle. Watch, especially Inside Man, because you're into the DeMeo crew and all those crazy bloodthirsty characters. Very intriguing, very interesting,
Kyle asks,
compelling, if you will.
compelling. He says, "Is this the one about the Westies?"
Nope.
Thank you for the recommendation. And then Triple E also adds to what you were saying last week, Rob, that Alto Kings is really good. Nero played Frankie, but also Vito, right? Makeup did a good job to keep the look separate.
I think Makeup did a good job, and I think that Robert De Niro did a good job too, because you know you could just they were just different. Like you could tell when he's Frank or when he's Vito by what he says, by his voice, the intention behind his voice, you know, the entitlement, just everything about it. Just like I said before, Tom Hardy did that in Legend, which is one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
Legend or Legends? I think it's Legend.
He plays brothers, right? He plays twin brothers, Legends.
Yeah, the Cray twins. They're mobsters from England.
Yeah.
And same thing there. So, yeah.
Did I ask you if you saw Mobland yet?
Yeah, I think we talked about it. I just watched one episode so far, and I plan on eventually getting back to it. You know, it was enjoyable, but I find it like way over the top. You know?
Okay. Yeah. I remember you talking about it a little bit now.
Yeah.
Because Maddie asks, "What about Mr. Ed?" I remember Mr. Ed.
The famous Mr. Ed. Yeah.
And they put peanut butter in his mouth so it looked like he would talk. Gee, Wilbur.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was real little when I saw that on TV. I think it was even for kids that were older than me.
Yeah, right. I remember it being on like Nickelodeon. I think it was after like Nick Jr. when I was like 7. Mr. Ed and Dennis the Menace were on there.
Reruns, right?
Reruns, the old reruns and stuff. Yeah, those were holy smokes. Guys, yes, if you have questions, get them in here on the chat. We started off here with Frankie Terrizzo with the super chat. Thanks for the 2 buccarinos. He says, "What are some of your favorite shoot kicks, Rob?" We talked about how to hide your jab. I was thinking about that yesterday when I was boxing too, hiding jab and all that stuff. So, do you have any favorite shoot kicks, Rob?
I think, I like the spinning back kick a lot. But I think maybe my favorite, if I had to pick a favorite, would be a step behind side kick, and that's not one that's not one that you normally hide, but it's one for like power if you can get it in, and you know, like when you step one foot behind the other one when you're facing one way, the way that it spins your hip forward and brings your ass and your quadricep and hamstrings into play, it sets you up so that when you kick, it's a very powerful kick. I remember when we were kids watching the movie. Let me see. I don't want anyone to. I don't want to spoil it. Best of the Best. Do you know that movie?
No. Who's in that?
See, I grew up on all these fight movies. Anyway, it was a Taekwondo tournament, big, action-packed movie. And I remember, even like before I was trained, watching that and mimicking the power that the guy had. It was the Asian heel / baby face in the movie, but I can't remember where he kicked, if it was a pad in training or what, but even though it was acting, I was like, whoa, that was so, he sent that guy flying, and I had to mimic it and learn how he moved his body to get it. And the reason a spinning back kick is a lot like a step behind side kick is because, like, as soon as I spin 180 degrees, I'm in the same position as if I was doing a step behind side. So that one, I don't know if I can explain with just words. If it makes sense, then it should make sense. You just pivot your feet, and when you look over your shoulder, now you've twisted your body in such a way that your foot is behind your other foot anyway, and it's basically from that point, boom, a side kick. But the way you throw your body into the step, the way that you have all the momentum, and then you have your leg, and the leg is like the most powerful muscle in your whole body. So you have that to separate you from the target that you've just launched your body into, and then you got your leg to go bam and straighten out and kick. I always like that kick because it's so powerful. It's not something that you can just block, like when I watch wrestling, when someone does a super kick, it's not the exact same thing, as a step behind side kick, but it's a variation of it. And because of that, I hate it when someone will do like a super kick and then the person like puts their hand up and just blocks it or catches their foot, because you couldn't do that with a really powerful kick coming, So that one always strikes me as like, oh, yeah, man, let me give this guy a step behind side kick and see him catch it. Because I used to have the people like have the pads and like lean into it and everything, bigger guys than me when I was really working on power. And I'd be hard as I could, boom, and send them back, flying off their base. And then it's, wow, that could do so much damage in a real fight, but in a real fight, or a kickboxing match, it would always end up more like a super kick because you want to get it in there and you don't want to telegraph it. And so you can't go as powerful. You got to make up for some of that with speed, body movement, snap. And so, so it's more for like, I guess when you can get it in, just like a big roundhouse punch, hey, if you can get it in, sure, that's going to be your hardest one. If you can do a running start, hey, if you can get it in.
It's like a crow hop, like when you're throwing or trying to give it a punch.
Yeah. But it's funny when you watch and someone will duck it and the person falls on their face because that was their whole plan, was like, I'm going to knock his head off his shoulders. And then they fall and the person's like, excuse me, what just happened there?
Okay, so this is a non-athlete question. So okay, you obviously were born with strong legs. You never really had to do leg workouts, stuff like that.
Mom says I got him from her.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Mrs. That.
Well,
that's
so how much of an adjustment was that to kind of like get that kicking strength? Because I can't kick for shit. So it's like hard for me to kind of think about that, where it's even hard for me to throw like a good punch, I think. And that's even taking a lot of time too, to kind of be mindful of that. But how
I think that's all in the training though. You know what I mean? Like you say that, but if you had like a boxing coach that was going over and showing you what to do and stuff, you'd pick it right up probably. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So did it come naturally to you, I guess, is kind of what I'm saying? Like putting leg strength in and getting those kicks out, or did that take a while to kind of get your body attuned to that?
No, I think the strength was there. And then I was made aware early on, like I think junior in high school, I think is when I had the health and fitness class. And that's when I was learning about the importance of flexibility and learning that if I wanted to put muscle on and put size on, I was going to lose flexibility unless I kept stretching and working on that while I was working on the other, on putting mass on. And so I always had that in mind, and then had good training. Like I said, I used to imitate what I saw on TV a lot. So I already had like a lot of the movements down, at least to an extent, even if they weren't perfect, just like with wrestling, a couple brothers that grow up wrestling in the front yard, they have a huge advantage. They're way ahead over somebody that shows up at a wrestling school like, okay, headlock, what's that now? You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I was already running up the trees and doing backflips and all that stuff, and I wasn't trained on that. But so then when I started training with actually kickboxing, which was all about the power, you know what I mean? Yeah. Then I started finding that I had certain gifts, certain things that were natural for me, and just like with squats, which was seems like it was roughly about the same time too, that I was lifting weights with Tom Bennett, and he was saying, man, you must have been made for squats, because that is perfect. Watching my form.
Tom Bennett, he was the big guy that you were friends with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that said, see you. Noticed that. Yeah. Guy that introduced us to the Sheik. He was a big power lifter. Still is. Still lifting as a senior, and he's in his 60s, or probably late 60s now, actually. Wow. Is he 70? He's up there anyway. And big 315-pound monster. And I remember the first time doing squats with him at the Y Center, and him telling me where to put my feet and where to hold the bar and all this, and him just saying, wow, that's perfect. You must be made for squats. So then I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me throw some more weight on that, and started. Yeah.
How about that? Jeez, that's nuts. Hey, what's up, man? Yes, springtime is here. And guess what? You want to smell great. You don't want to be that wrestling fan that smells bad. And hey, no offense, but there's a lot of them. And you always got to dot your I's and cross your T's when that comes to that. Smelling good. But there's no better way to smell good and smell better. Smell like you want to smell with Mando. I love Mando. They've been a great sponsor of ours for quite a while now, and it's always good to have them on board. I'm a huge Mount Fuji advocate, and I always feel great. The spray is awesome. The bar of soap is tremendous. I love the bar of soap. And the deodorant stick itself, it's great. You cannot beat it. And they have so many options that you can combine and get in with your starter pack too. So let's get to it. Mando is such a great product, and I just love the aspects of it all when it comes to what my everyday life. If I'm in a pinch and everything like that, I just use that deodorant spray anywhere, and then you smell dang good. Doesn't even matter. So there's whole body deodorant, and it was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was misdiagnosed and mistreated. All products are baking soda free and paraben free as well. So you can choose from a variety of scents like bourbon leather, which is really good. That's a good choice. Clover Woods. Not familiar with that one, but I am very familiar with Mount Fuji, which is my number one. Or you can get Pro Sport too if you're super duper active and you like to make sure you're smelling good at the gym too. I always do that too. Mount Fuji covers those bases as well. So without further ado, Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash and the deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code RVD at shopmando.com. SHOPMANDO.com. Love saying that. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. So I was kind of fascinated. You mentioned it last week. We were talking about throwing the punches and then you learning from Blackjack Lanza. And then you made mention how the Sheik just taught you strictly fundamental wrestling aspect, foundational wrestling stuff. So he wasn't the type that would do the brawling, punching kind of thing. Cause I would think that would be something that he would be doing. Right. Or am I mistaken on that?
Well, so here's the thing. He taught us the fundamentals, but also the mindset, which I think was just as important, because we all we weren't allowed to turn it back off once we turn it on, Mm-hmm. You're committed, just like him. He wasn't going to be committed to being the Sheik, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the match break character and say excuse me, sir, would you mind handing me that chair? He would. Yeah. And that's what he taught us. And that's what I see other people completely disconnected from, because they can turn it off, to let the guy know, okay, I'm here ready to catch you, whenever you're ready. And it's I would have got stabbed if I would have stopped working to just start staring at my guy, or whatever. It was so it wasn't about that. And if you think about punches and stuff, if we ever punched each other brawling style while we were working out, we would just have to really lay it in and really hit each other. Otherwise, what's he gonna say? Because it was nowhere near like him to come over and say, here's a working punch. That wasn't it. That was not part of our training at all. You know, he would be like, you know, if we open our hand like people do, and they, you know, when they punch like that, he would say, "What are you doing? Why are you smacking him? You look like a girl. You afraid you're going to hurt him?" That's what I would expect to hear from him, but we didn't, of course, because there was no place for punching in what we were doing.
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot more sense then. Yeah, like he's teaching you like the real aspect of
Throw him down, jump on him, try and pin him.
Yeah. Fucking try to pin him. Yeah, exactly. That makes plenty sense now. All right, thanks for clearing that up. Wow. Carrie, let me know. We'll do this one here. I know there's another super chat. Oh, this is a good question. Gem the Dawn.
He's right here. She thinks you're in the garage.
I opened up the garage, so she knows I'm expecting someone.
Oh, okay.
Gem the Dawn here. If you were a giant, what would your finishers be? If you were a giant, that's an interesting question.
That's funny. If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
I'd be a pine tree.
So I would change it probably from a frog splash, because giants don't jump off the top rope too often. They don't do split leg moonsaults. They don't do rolling thunders.
Know your realm. That's what you said.
Right. My finish would be I'll take the Mike Awesome power bomb off the top rope.
Oh, that's a good one. The Awesome bomb was indeed awesome. It was very good.
I'll try to put a spin on it and make it my own, though.
Yeah. I am gonna Photoshop your face onto Andre the Giant for this YouTube clip.
Bear hug.
Yes. Oh, see, I like the bear hug. That's underrated too for a giant move. Yeah. It doesn't get utilized as much.
Spark him if you got him. I'm ready.
Yeah, light him up, folks. Light him up. All right. Here's an interesting question too. Scuba Steve. RVD, ever go to the Friendly Tap in Rhode Island, Timmy White's place?
No, I never did.
Oh, okay. What was your interaction like with Timmy White? Speaking of Andre the Giant, he was there, his right-hand man kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I got along with Timmy really well. I really liked him. Timmy White was in charge every day of getting the talent, picking from the talent and getting people to go with him to meet people, real people outside of the dressing room. Contest winners like with the radio, and also like Make-A-Wish, things like that. So yeah, Tim White would come in, and I would always volunteer. I was always like, get me out of here, Seriously, I was in the dressing room, like, yeah, let me leave this, boom, happily pick me right here. And so much that after a while, he would say, well, let me try and give someone else a chance, Robert. Let me get someone else. We've been using you a lot lately. And
I'll go. It's fine.
Yeah, a lot of the other people didn't like doing it. Like they thought that it was a pain in the ass, something extra they had to do to pull them outside of their bubble. And that, for me, I always liked that. I would, on my own, a lot of times I would leave and just go to the parking lot in the back of the arena and go up to the fence just to sign autographs, take pictures, because I needed a break from that bubble. Yeah. It was not as easy for me being in that bubble of a men's dressing room. You know what I mean? It's just a bunch of guys farting and laughing at each other and talking shit about their wives.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I know you weren't thinking like this, but from a standpoint of going out there, interacting with the fans, like from whether it's contest winners or going out in the parking lot, like you were saying, do you think that's a good thing for big stars to do? Or is that counterproductive for business because you're kind of not exposing yourself, but kind of like making yourself more available, so to speak? Does that make sense?
I could see it as either.
Yeah.
You could see it as either in the same way, just being genuine is also like that could hurt me in the long run. Having my own values and not being a good puppet or soldier for the cause, not being someone that other people can fill up with their agenda and values and throw out there to represent them. Like anything that I do in the long run. I love that people remember me for that, and they'll say, "Dude, you're the realest, man. I always remember you were the only guy that would come out, and meet sign for it." Stuff for me, that's worth it. If it was more important for me to do everything possible to try to focus on getting ahead, star ascension, then I would, maybe reprioritize.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because it'd be tougher, I think, for like somebody like the Undertaker who was in gimmick all the time to like.
Right, and I don't think he should. I don't think he should go back there. He's the main event. You know what? Part of it was too, like in the dressing room with all those egos and stuff. I could just be just another wrestler. I don't even know how much the other guys respect me. Maybe I'm just competition. Maybe they don't even look up to me. Maybe it's Undertaker and Hunter and I don't know who else here getting dressed. Maybe they look down at me and think that I'm a curtain jerker or mid card or whatever. I go out there to the parking lot, get a little test of feedback from the real world, and out there they can make me feel like I'm the greatest. RVD, they love me. And guess what? I get to feel like a big star, even if the program is not consistent with that.
That's a good point too, because like you're in that political scheme of like, hey, you don't have control of necessarily where you're at on the card sometimes and what kind of match you're in, and then you fucking get out there and you hear like the crowd, hey, all right, no, that validates, and like not in like, I'm doing what I'm doing, man, and the crowd wants to see me, so that's good. It's like a good refresher kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little extra validation and it's from a source that means something different and means maybe even more than getting it from the other guys in the dressing room that are,
absolutely
ego heads.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Everybody's in their own bubble kind of thing too when you're just in the dressing room. You're in that wrestling ecoscape.
Yeah.
Here's another question from Ricky Jordan. Thanks for the $5, Ricky. How cool did it feel to come out to your WWE intro when the pyro went off? And were there any accidents?
Hey, DB. I could be eating my dogs. Did you hear that?
No.
Hey. I don't remember any accidents. I remember like one time that was close, like I jumped up in the corner and did one of these things in the second rope. And as soon as I jumped off, Kane's pyro went off out of the corner. And that was a big deal because everyone was like, "Oh my God, you look," we were like, "Get down from there," and everybody panicked but me because I didn't know it was coming.
Yeah.
But besides that, I wasn't a fan of the pyro. Hey, DB.
Hi, Robbie.
I wasn't a big fan of the pyro. And I get it now. It's part of the presentation. And if you're a fan thinking like, wow, that'd be so cool to be a wrestler, then you probably imagine coming out with a bunch of bright lights and stuff like that. As I mentioned, part of Sheik's training was not traditional. And in another way that it wasn't, I didn't get taught to do TV wrestling.
Yeah.
I was taught to wrestle, and throughout my whole career, like I never, I would have to think about camera angles sometimes. It wasn't just like second nature. Like people that get trained, like they as soon as they learn to lock up, they're like, okay, now which way is the camera? And that's not at all how I was trained. Years and years of experience before I got on or got used to the TVs and started, like adapting that. So even with the pyro, if you remember when I did the speech in the ECW One Night Stand, the first one, 2005, one of the things I said, and I was pointing out JBL and all the guys sitting up there in SmackDown, the SmackDown guys, and I was saying is my first shoot promo that anyone in WWE had heard, speaking from my heart, and I said, we don't need you motherfuckers up there. We don't need all the bright lights and fucking, we don't need any of that shit. Just give us one night to be ourselves. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's what I meant by that, was like the pyro, the bright lights. And now, I mean, holy shit, like it looks like the entrances cost $1 million,
Right.
I saw a couple that were incredible. One of them was the Barbie house. Holy fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But then there was a couple other ones like that. That wasn't part of my training. It wasn't part of something I wanted. That wasn't something that I yearned for, was to have a really cool entrance that made me look cool. I just wanted to fucking go out there and wrestle. And I always felt like my pyro was lame. I felt like it looked like sparklers compared to everyone else,
Yeah.
Everyone else, big deal, whoa. And then when mine would come out, it'd be like, and it was just, it looked like sparklers that would just fall down. And it burnt my eyes. I would come through. That was a big problem a lot when I was in WWE. I would come through and I'd be like, fuck. By the time I'm getting to the ring, I'm grabbing either Lillian Garcia or sometimes it'd be,
Kyoto?
sometimes it would be Kyoto. Yeah, the referee. And also the ring announcer that's Justin.
Justin Roberts?
Sometimes I would grab him and it burnt so bad that I complained about it one time, and I can't remember what they did. They modified it or something to try to change it, but I always thought like that's one of the things I didn't understand, was like you put $10,000 into one guy's entrance and then you put $10 into another guy's entrance. How's there not supposed to be a comparison made? How's there not supposed to be envy and competitive fucking ugly feelings about it? I never could understand that. Just like with the posters at the airport when you come in for WrestleMania and everyone's got their posters stringing down, I'd be like, there's no RVD poster. Like, how am I supposed to just be like, oh, that's cool? Like I always felt like it's somebody's choice, but it never stopped. How come he's doing the commercials? How come they pick those guys to do the commercials and do the movies? And how come they never pick me? And then when I get a part on my own, they turn it down. There's always things like that. And that's where the politics are. And the politics are when they have their own agenda that you can't describe with straight up business, and then decisions are made to follow that agenda that's beneath the surface.
Yeah. There's so many different layers, and it's a matter of association too. It's like maybe if somebody else got a certain role, hey, we would embrace it a little bit more, but then somebody else, no, we need you for this. Or I also remember too when Batista came back. 2014 maybe it was. Either way, he was in Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was the first one of that, and it was like WrestleMania. He was part of Triple H and Randy Orton and all that stuff, but they didn't announce or promote that movie whatsoever, and then it took off like gangbusters after the fact. It became a blockbuster hit, and obviously just changed his whole career. So I always kind of consider that too when I'm thinking about the movie roles and all that stuff coming into play too. And it's pretty wild.
Even if there'd be a celebrity, which I've always been I don't want to say disappointed, but it's always irked me a little bit, when they have celebrities come in and then wrestle and then make it look like anybody can do it. Jeremy Piven comes in and does a crossbody off the top rope, and
Jon Stewart, he was another one.
Okay, yeah. So all of that, always, was cringy to me. But when a celebrity would come in and do something, a vignette, you know, a little skit with the wrestlers, same thing. I always wondered, like, well, how did they get picked? You know, and people would even be like, "Wait, Snoop Dogg's here, and they didn't do anything with Rob. They're missing the boat." It's like, how do they decide? You know, no, we want Snoop Dogg to do something with Cena or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And it's all. I mean, that's where politics come in, but that's something that I've never enjoyed about the business was the politics.
Yo, I bet it would drive you nuts. And it's like if you have a creative mind and you have your own ideas, and you know it makes sense, and it also logistically makes sense. Like RVD and Snoop Dogg, and it doesn't happen. You're like, what the F? Were you around when Bob Barker was the guest host? I can't remember if you. I don't think you were. I don't think.
No, but I remember he was at WrestleMania one time when I was. It was one of the first ones, like WrestleMania 2 or 3, maybe 3.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
Oh, you might be thinking of Bob Uecker. Bob Uecker.
Oh, maybe I am. Yeah, you're right. That's right.
Yeah.
I thought it was the don't get your dogs neutered guy. It was Mr. Baseball.
He was the baseball commentator. Yep.
See you have fun.
Yeah. No, that was great. Some of that stuff. Yeah, I'm with you though. Like when the celebrities get involved, sometimes it can make sense, but other times no.
And I get the fans love it, you know. Oh my God, Jelly Roll did this and that. But I'm like, you know, the way I got taught, if I was gonna kick Jelly Roll, I would kick him the same way I would kick Bubba Dudley. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Not any less. So he thinks, oh, that's it. I should be a wrestler. This is easy. Not that at all, because that's not the truth.
No. Speaking of, they have so Pat McAfee actually cut a really intense promo on Raw, and like they're setting him up for Gunther at Backlash. Because Gunther choked him out on the previous week after he tried to save Michael Cole. Now somebody like Pat McAfee's an athlete. He was a punter in the NFL and all that stuff. Is that something a little bit more digestible, do you think? Having like a pro athlete kind of get more involved instead of like a Jeremy Piven or like a guy that's my size?
Yeah, for sure. That makes it better.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. What do you think of Pat McAfee? What you've seen of him and how he handles himself in the wrestling realm?
Well, he's totally into it. You know, like I was watching a clip of him commentating, and I'm realizing like he wasn't around when I was there, so he seems really new to me, but he's probably been there for so long since I've been gone because he seems used to it. He seems like he's regular, like he's plugged in, one of the family, comfortable with making his own decisions on what he's talking about and calling and shit. So, you know, I don't have anything negative I don't know anything negative about him. He seems to be, to have a lot of passion for the industry. Otherwise, I don't know, you know, why he would do what he does. And I know he always has wrestlers on his show or whatever. So I assume that's, good synergy and good networking. Because otherwise, why would him and the brothers have anything to do with wrestling unless they're bringing in the numbers, right?
Absolutely. He's big time, like, you know, and to your point, like he's definitely like embedded into the product because he's been on commentary for the past few years. He wrestled a little bit in NXT and stuff like that when Adam Cole was there.
Okay.
Yep. And he's definitely he's not as like Logan Paul smooth, but he's pretty darn good. Like he's good. But he was also trained a little bit by Rip Rogers, I believe, too. He trained with Rip Rogers a little bit before he actually.
You know what's interesting? I never thought about it like this, but sometimes like in wrestling video games, like retro ones, you can be like a rapper and be like in the game or something.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what it is, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
no, he would be like a secret character you could unlock back in the day.
Right, why not?
Because you could wrestle as like Fred Durst or like Kid Rock, I remember, I think back when. Oh, I unlocked Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit. Sweet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because we were talking about putting Cypress Hill and some people in that game that's been going around for years and years and is waiting to be made.
Yeah, is it? I know that wrestling basement one or whatever it is. Is that the one you're thinking of? Yeah.
Have better sex with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. And starting now, Blue Chew is offering a combo so strong it'll knock your socks off and your neighbor's socks off. Bam! You'll have to move towns with the amount of noise you'll be making. Blue Chew Max has arrived, and it combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable tablet. This combo acts fast and lasts. Guys, be ready when she needs it and get your first month of Blue Chew free. Great sex is a few clicks away. Sign up at bluechew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the US of A and prepared and shipped directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use promo code RUMOR. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code RUMOR. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
Super chat by Frankie here. Another one. Thanks for the $5. They say that if Triple H put you over in the 2002 pay-per-view title match, you would have been a permanent main eventer. What are your thoughts about all that? Back in 2002, Rob, when you're right in the competitive grind.
I think back then I didn't have the right relationship with the office.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an important factor too. Like, you can't be the champion and be an outsider and you know, not behind the curtain. You know, it might have worked with CM Punk when he was doing his pipe bomb promos and shit. I mean, he looked like he was an anti-WWE, like an outsider guy, the way he was running his mouth and stuff. But obviously, if you were the one with the pen, you know, pushing the pen, making the decisions in the office, you wouldn't allow that. Not someone that's fucking calling you on all your shit and trying to destroy you and your product and your image. You wouldn't want them to, you wouldn't allow those guys to be, you know what, in that spot. It's got to be someone that you invest in, that you know you can trust. I really wasn't that guy. You know, even though the fans loved me, and, you know, I can't say whether it would have worked or not from a lot of perspectives, but from the perspective of the office, I think having control of me and having a solid enough relationship with me to trust me, I don't think I had that.
Yeah. Well, you talk about it too, like how you know, just you going there and Austin saying like, oh, they're gonna strap a rocket on your back and all that kind of thing, and then Patterson saying what he said to you too in the bathroom or whatever, and like you're like, what? And like that kind of stuff. It's just like, yeah, it didn't necessarily, just the time frame wasn't lining up, and you know, every aspect like that. What else was I gonna say about that?
Yeah, that's, you're gonna make a lot of money here, kid. And I was
That's
like,
what it was. Yeah.
you say so.
If you say so. And you
Show me the money.
show me the money.
That's what I meant.
Another super chat. Did we get them all yet? Oh, this one is for me, I guess. Jem, Dom, what's your entrance theme slash finisher? Spark it. I'd probably do, I don't know. Maybe probably like I would do Offspring, I think, one of the Offspring songs. And then I would have, my finisher would be, I'll do the Doors, break on through the other side. And then my finisher would be a flatliner. I like the flatliner. So there we go. That could be something I could try to pull off, even though I would hurt myself.
And what's the flatliner?
That's where you like grab them by the front and you hook your leg around their leg and then you fall backwards.
Like a Russian leg sweep?
Like a reverse Russian leg sweep. Like, so his body's facing your arm.
Gotcha.
His face is facing your arm and you fall back. Like gotcha. Canyon did that. That was Canyon's finisher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, something. Let me see if this makes sense. Oh, this is an interesting one. Kieran, we'll get this one. Question for RVD. After your iconic match with Cena at ECW,
What was your conversation like with John and Gorilla? Was he pissed or was he pleased with the match and the crowd reaction? Do you remember your conversation with John at all or surrounding all that?
No, I don't. But I know he wasn't pissed.
Yeah. How could you be, right?
Right. No, it was a great match in my opinion, and we both worked really hard, and I'm pretty sure that that we were both pleased with the way that it went off. But I don't remember. The wrestlers came out and they were holding me up, celebrating and shit. I doubt very much that John was waiting in Gorilla. He was probably, by the time I made it back there, he was already probably back in the dressing room. I probably had to go look for him. I don't know.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, even us just talking about that and thinking about Cena win the title right now, makes me think about like Cena's all-time best matches, and that has to be up there, like top 5 at the very least. Like, if you're thinking about his most historic matches, you could definitely make an argument it's his top 3. I think even like is your match with him, because it's just so memorable that like you winning the title, the atmosphere, the situation that it was all about, and how he handled himself too. It was just like really a perfect, unique balance for that time.
Yeah, it really was. And you'd have to see it to believe it, to really understand it. And of course, if you were there, that's a whole nother level. But just the way that the crowd reacted to every effort on both parts that I did, and every effort of John's as well. It was just like, it was so great. They understood the assignment.
Yeah. And I think that's the neat thing too, because I remember like I think definitely tuning in. I don't know if I watched it on the squiggly lines on pay-per-view or what I did exactly.
Stole
it. Yeah, I could have done that too. But John, like, playing the role, like he embraced that fact that he was gonna get booed and everything to that effect, and like in this hostile environment that was not his, and like still he being that baby face that's kind of like quote unquote being shoved down everybody's throat at the time, and then you're the counterculture of all that too, that fires back those fans were still really, really hungry for. It was it was just the perfect storm of everything going together right there, I think.
Yep, absolutely. The entire landscape of the industry changed to fit that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely it did. It really did. Let's see.
I got a question here that says Al McLean wants to ask if I remember wrestling in Glasgow.
Yeah.
Hey, nice
What
job.
did RVD? Hey, thanks. What did RVD think about being in Glasgow for ICW, and what was his memories from the time he spent in Scotland?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't. I've wrestled in Scotland a number of times. This is cool because it was for the group right there out of Scotland, so it wasn't like I was there with WWE. I feel like maybe I was in a 3-way match, and a little confusing, but of course what stands out in my mind the most was the wrestler named Lionheart, which a lot of Americans think of Chris Jericho because Lionheart was his nickname, but there's a wrestler in Scotland named himself Lionheart. I would argue to say maybe he was their top guy. He was the guy that, at least part of the ICW, was his vision. I mean, he was on top. He's office. He's making it go. He's booking foreigners, and I'm sure he had partners. And so I can't say exactly how they divided up responsibilities and this and that, but he was, he was like the top guy, and he really loved the business. And he could have went on. He could have went on and got himself a lot more worldwide fame. He was interested and coming to the States. I believe I was with TNA at the time when he asked if I knew who to talk to or to send a tape to or whatever, and told him, yeah, I'll look into it. And I hit him a message back a little while later saying, yeah, I ain't forgot about you. I've just been busy, but I'll look into it. And I got one last response from him saying, no problem, I know you're busy. Something to that effect.
Yeah.
And then he hung himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's always devastating, you know, like we were just there partying with him. Katie was there. I remember we were all in this nightclub office building, you know, after the matches. There was another American there. I'm not sure who, but I guess it doesn't really matter. But I just remember afterwards, like they were so happy with the way the show went off and with the way the company was doing things, you know, and I did meet his business partners and stuff, of course. And that was the last time I saw him. And I just, you know, it was, it was something, you know, it affected me. It was effective to see. I had no idea what it was about, you know.
Mhm.
I still don't know if it was you, but obviously I'm going to guess he was depressed. Depression changes your perspective into a state of mind that's not very positive when some things that aren't very positive or productive seem like a good idea sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
It's brain chemistry. I always say this, you know, it's brain chemistry. Brain chemistry controls our emotions. Sometimes it's off. Sometimes we need a little help, whatever. But that's what I'll always think of when I think of ICW or wrestling in Scotland. You know, he left an impression on me. I talked to him a lot. I worked with him a couple times, I believe, and I think it was shortly after that, or it might even been before, but it seems like it was somewhere around that time that Triple H made an appearance there. And that was when that was like unheard of. Like, wait, WWE acknowledging an indie promotion, that he was there with ICW in Scotland saying, hey, we're networking and making some of these groups our affiliates, which now, of course, with AAA and with TNA and with everything that they're doing, it's more apparent now than it was then. But that was the first I'd heard of it.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing that sad news about him passing. I was not familiar with him at the time, but he had a great look about him, and unfortunately, he was only 36 when he took his own life. But what a good looking dude, and like definitely sounded like he had his head on his shoulders when it came to the wrestling business and everything to that effect. But yeah, I guess there's a documentary out about him too. Trying to think. Afterlife, it was called, I think. No, he quoted the TV series. Somebody said there's a documentary about him, so I'll have to try.
I haven't seen that. I would like to find that.
Gem the Dawn. I watched a good documentary on him. If you can find that, Gem, let us know in the chat here. That'd be great.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, how about that?
There's one about Nigel McGuinness. I mean,
Oh,
you've seen that documentary, right?
no, I haven't seen that one. No.
Okay, that was pretty good. That was a long time ago. It seems like, but
I remember Nigel when such big news about him. Early in ROH and stuff with Bryan Danielson and stuff, and then I remember him going to TNA and them changing his name to like Desmond Wolfe for that time being and everything.
Yeah, and I worked with him then when he was Desmond.
Yeah. How'd you like working with Nigel?
Oh, fine. He was a nice guy. I liked it. In the documentary, I believe I don't know if it's a blood disease. He catches something. I can't remember what the the antagonist is in his story. But I'm pretty sure he was told he wouldn't wrestle again. Some kind of illness, and that's the heat of the story. But he came back and I believe wrestled afterwards. I don't know.
He wrestled at All In last year. I think he wrestled Bryan Danielson. Yep, came back and wrestled in London, and did a pretty darn good job too. August 2024 is when he wrestled last. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was. Seems like it was a blood disease that maybe he got a job and then maybe he was one of those guys who got a job to go up to the dub, but then lost his contract because of something that showed up.
Oh. Well, Not a Garage says Nigel caught hepatitis C from a piece of shit at an indie show. Someone I won't mention. It is worth mentioning. That's what he says.
Okay, so yeah, similar to what's his face in Canada, right? From
Hannibal.
yeah, similar story. Sounds like.
Yeah, with Abdullah, right? I think that was the story about that. Yeah. So, dang, crazy stuff. Let's see. You're welcome.
Two wrestlers. Like I saw a picture yesterday. It was Cactus Jack and somebody, but like their whole they were just covered in crimson mask, right? Both like so red and bloody. Maybe Terry Funk or whatever.
Yeah.
I just said to Katie, like, how healthy can that be? You know what I mean? Especially with certain wrestlers that are out banging rats every night. Wrestlers that are shooting needles. Like, hey, let's bleed all over each other.
Let's all bleed on each other. It doesn't matter.
Bleed in my mouth.
Oh, man. Ugh. Plus, I could imagine just getting it in your eyes would just be rough, I think, too. Ugh. Oh, look, this is an interesting question. Alex K. Rob, is Katie ever going to look into wrestling training? Like training people, I think he means? Would that be something she'd be interested in, you think?
I have no idea. I don't know. I think she's I don't know. I don't think she never talks about it. You know what I mean? Like she's still. I mean, we're all still learning, but I mean, she's at a stage, where she's like still like pulling it together and more comfortable. Like every match, it seems like, and so I don't, not that she couldn't have something to pass on, but I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Something I wanted to bring up too. This kind of ties into some other stuff here. Let me get the research my paper out here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Read that. RVD research. Dang it, I gotta type it in. Bear with me a second. All right. Here we go. This is kind of what we talked about a little bit in a roundabout way. So I don't know if you heard about this, but apparently Logan Paul offered Stone Cold $1 million to dress as the Prime Bottle at WrestleMania 41, and Austin turned down the offer. He said if he said that, I guess Logan Paul mentioned this on his podcast. So Austin said, if he said that, I'm not going to call him a liar. I just kind of thought it was personal business. Since it's out there, yeah, I turned it down. I'm in the beer business. I don't know anything about his product. I don't know how the ingredients in it, if it's good, if it's bad, or whatever. It wasn't my thing. Yeah, I turned it down because I wasn't into it. It's no disrespect to him and his product. It's not my gimmick. He's doing really well. He's hustling and going and getting it. It's more power to him. It wasn't a great fit for Steve Austin. Rob, would you do something like wear a Prime bottle, dress up as a Prime bottle for $1 million at WrestleMania?
Yeah, call me. I just need my arms. I need space to pull my arms out. Be a cool looking bottle.
Yeah, it'd be one cool. Imagine giving a Van Terminator in that one.
Yeah.
Split-legged moonsault as a Prime bottle. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Gem to Dawn. So you kind of mentioned a little bit of like waiting for that spot like a spot and how like that takes you out of it and all that stuff. Jim the Don brings this up. Did you guys see that TNA spot where the guy jumped off the height of a Hell in a Cell and nobody caught him? Did you see that, Rob?
Yeah, I did. I saw it, and also, was it Ricky Starks or who did the? It's like
Leon Slater was the guy that leaped off of it. Yeah.
somewhere off. I don't know why I thought that.
Well,
But,
yeah. Ricky Starks is in NXT, so that this was the TNA Rebellion pay-per-view that this happened at. But I could see how you could kind of mix them up because they do look a little similar, like just by.
okay.
Mhm.
And I think I heard someone else say that because I saw a couple of YouTube videos talking about it. One
Stevie
of them,
Richards.
yeah, saw that one.
Mm-hmm.
Saw that one. In which to that, I think that's the one where the resolution or the takeaway from that was that he should never trust anybody again.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Isn't that what
Mhm.
Stevie said?
I think. Well, I know Ricky Morton tweeted about it too.
Right, that's right. Thank you. They read
Yeah.
Ricky's tweet on when I was seeing James and Stevie talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It was Ricky that was saying, the trust might be gone in the business forever or whatever. To that, what I gotta say is they call it a high risk move for a reason.
Yeah.
Can I criticize the guys that caught him all day long? I hate it when they stop what they're doing and just start staring. I hate that.
Yeah, it's awful. It's
Why
awful.
can't they choke each other? Something.
Dude, yeah, that's a good point, dude. Yeah.
Something. I hate that. It's totally. It just tells me that they're not in the mindset, the commitment. Like if I do that, I feel like I have like a drunk cell where I got wobbly legs and I'm like rubber and I'm like, boom, but I don't. But anyway, I hate that. And then yes, they showed it over and over. You can see everybody splitting up, trying not to get hit by it and shit like that. And yeah, you can criticize them. I can criticize them as well. But I'm used to going through my whole career being the one guy, and there's not the only guy, but a lot of times I'm the only guy on the card that's the doing these moves. That's why I'm one of a kind, and it was considered high risk. You know what I mean? So I always felt like when I dived down to the floor, I always feel like that's my risk. You know what I mean? And we've talked about some of the guys that were horrible catchers. I mentioned Lance Storm by name. I never took it personally, and I don't know if he intentionally was like, I'm not going to catch Rob, but me and Fonzie would talk. And we'd be like, okay, watch him, like when we know it's coming, we'd be like, watch this. And I remember one time in New Orleans and boom, I would jump over the rope without touching it. That was, my move, and do the helo, but wham, right on my back, like barely brushed his shoulder. And I knew it was going to happen because that was consistent with him. Like Stevie said, Disco Inferno was. And I felt like, no, you know what? I'm doing this move anyway. And in my mind, I was taking the risk. And so I felt like I wasn't going to give anyone the satisfaction of letting them know that I got hurt, even if I did. That's some of the competitiveness that people don't understand is in the game, But anyway, it was called a high risk, and the risk wasn't on everybody else. I didn't want to hurt them with me doing my dives, but if they weren't comfortable with catching me, I'd want them to say so beforehand, not pretend they were comfortable until they got out there and then fucking leave me hanging. But yeah, the way I see it, it's crazy how everybody does everybody's moves now. And they're taught that in school. They're taught in school to do all the moves that nobody was doing when I broke in.
Yeah.
If I watch kids training right now in a ring in school, they haven't even had a match yet. They're doing moves that nobody was doing back in 1989. Nobody. jumping over the rope with one leap, landing on the apron, jumping back to the other side, back and forth a few times, up to the top, standing up, straight up on the top rope, maybe squatting on there, fucking everyone's doing moonsaults, hurricane ranas, whatever. It's crazy that they're taught those moves instead of the basics now, instead of the foundation of wrestling and grabbing the guy, headlock, reversal, go behind, armbar. They're taught that instead, and because of that, I guess they're taught that they're supposed to be able to trust everyone else to be able to do their same shit, and that's not a luxury that I ever had.
Yeah. Do you think that is a luxury though, or is that like because you missing? I mean, putting there obviously it's a trust business where you got to trust one another to do it, but like you learning the foundation just seems so much more important because then later on you can learn the trust aspect of that all when you're doing the high flying stuff a little bit. Or am I off base with that?
I think.
Because if you're just basing it off of moves and like orchestration almost, where it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what you're doing, we're flipping, I'm doing this, like that way. But oh, hey, we don't line up. But if you have the foundation of like, oh, I'm gonna lock in a headlock, and this is what we're doing for a little bit, and then you kind of recalibrate. I don't know. That just seems more beneficial, right? Instead of
I mean, because it always comes back to the wrestling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you can only get away from it for too long, and you got to get right back to it. At least that's the way that I was trained. But I also feel like because the dives and jumps outside, because that was so rare back then, there was some guys that I know they were great catchers.
Mm-hmm.
Other guys not such great catchers, and some of the guys that weren't great catchers, they weren't taught how to catch. It's not something they're comfortable with. They're not that good at it. It's not personal. It's not like they're trying to not work with somebody. It's something they're not that good at because not everybody was trained to do a springboard hurricane rana on day 2 back in the day. And because of that, I feel like you carry more responsibility to be able to do a lot more shit, lucha libre style wrestling, catching and diving than you ever did before. Because before, like say 1992, if I would have gotten in the ring with someone I didn't know and said, "Hey, I want to do this and this and this and this and this," it would be very appropriate if it was like, say, I don't know, say a veteran, Manny Fernandez or something like that. It would be someone that's already knows what they're doing. It'd be very appropriate for someone like that to be like, yeah, you can save all that crazy shit and do it with the next guy. We're going in there to wrestle.
Yeah.
And that would have been, like that's the world that it was back then.
Right. Mm-hmm. So it makes you more like diverse, right? It just
they forget that it's a match as soon as someone grabs your hand and goes up to the top rope. Yeah. The guy down on the bottom forgets he's doing anything already.
Yeah.
You just start spotting him. Mm-hmm. Doesn't try to like pull his arm away, untie the guy's shoes, try and like grab his leg, try and push him off the rope. Nothing. They just go, oh, okay, no one's gonna notice that I'm just spotting you while you dance on the fucking rope. That is the stuff that wouldn't have fit in what the Sheik trained me to do.
No way. Yeah, the Sheik would have none of that.
Yeah.
Yo, Rob, we're going to take a quick time out just to say that this week's episode of One of a Kind with RVD is presented by Get Blitzed. Get Blitzed Lit Aid Nano-Infused THC Syrup is a premium cannabis-infused syrup formulated with nanotechnology for fast-acting effects. And that advanced nanotechnology formulation allows for quicker onset and enhanced potency compared to regular THC syrup. It's Delta-9 and legal in all 50 states, every single one. And you have several syrups to choose from Blue Raz to Key Lime Pie to Pina Colada to Tiger's Blood to Cherry to Grape. Just head to get-blitz.com, use promo code RVD, and get 15% off your whole order. Could be a bottle, could be a bundle. your choice. But yes, head to get-blitz.com, use promo code RVD, and it is by Mickey Ray Sinatra and Courtney. Take a look. Head to get-blitz.com, promo code RVD, get 15% off. It's one of a kind, baby.
Jeez. Yeah, it's an interesting conversation always. Ricky Jordan, thanks for the $5. Have you ever had to quit it smoking for a drug test or other reason? And do you take tolerance breaks?
I don't usually take tolerance breaks on purpose. I usually feel like the universe just has enough in store with my schedule, to where like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to fly all day. I'll smoke my last doobie on the way to the airport. I might not smoke till the next day or whatever. Because of things like that. And because like it used to be that if I smoked weed continuously for so long, after a while, it seemed like the weed would get boring and be doing nothing for me. But I realized usually if I change the weed up, that doesn't happen anymore. And so that's like a problem from years ago, more of a rookie mistake kind of thing. And once in a while, I will get sick of the weed. Like before I'm halfway through with the bag, I'll just get to where I'm like, man, I can't wait to be done with this bag. It's like I'm used to it. It's not that good or that strong, and it'll be a subpar bag. But then switching it up keeps that from happening in my adult life. But I never smoked as a kid, but I'm just saying in my more educated life. And what was the other part? So I did use time. I did use the convenience to my benefit when I went to WWE for my return in 2013. It was $1,000 fine at that time if you got busted for smoking marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there. I signed a 3-month contract, 66 matches in a course of 90 days, 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided on my own, you know what? Yeah, I'll take a break from smoking because I hadn't taken a break in a long time. It seemed like a good idea. So I stopped a month before starting with WWE. And then when I gave my first piss test, I did fail it still a month later because that's how dirty my system was. But then I did the 90 days without smoking and just thought, yeah, why not? And then I left, and then I came back the next year, and I did a 5-month deal, 88 matches in 5 months. And this time, I was like, I could quit again or whatever. And I was like, nah, you know what? I'll just smoke my way through it and pay the fines. And so I just chose to do that.
Yeah. How often would you get fined typically, like on a run like that?
2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times. All right. So when you failed it the first time in 2013, did they fine you because of that?
No, they tried. It was Carano. Mark Carano came out and said, dude, you failed the piss test. What the fuck? You're supposed to come in clean. And I said, no, I know. That was just that's because I smoked a month before, and it takes 35 days to get out of your system. And I said, so that was just I ain't been smoking since I've been here. I said that was just it showed up from what I did before. And it was like, oh yeah, you're right.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, interesting. So I didn't know that's how long it took to get out of your system. I didn't know.
35 days if you're a heavy smoker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you just smoke a little bit here and there, you're not looking at, that many days at all if it even shows up in your system.
Yeah.
It all depends on that, how saturated you are.
Yeah, man.
And I was really surprised that I failed the test because like the whole day before, I was just guzzling this drink and I was pissing so much, like nonstop pissing.
Yeah.
This was so clear. And the idea is that you want to give a piss test that hasn't been sitting in your bladder long enough to collect anything,
Oh,
and I thought for sure I had that. I had to piss so bad that I remember just driving from my hotel to the doctor. I had to piss immediately in the parking lot outside of my car. I couldn't even wait to get in there. I had to pee so bad because I had myself, on that system, and I still failed it.
dang it. That's crazy.
Yeah. Mhm.
How difficult was that for you to just take that 3 months off? Was that when you do that, when you like stop smoking for like whether that's unintentional or not, is it tough for you to do or is it not? Are you pretty easy with it?
Easy as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super easy.
That's because I know too, like my family, I don't smoke cigarettes, but sometimes like my brothers will, and they could just stop. Like
They can with cigarettes.
yeah, they can do that with cigarettes too. They could just
That's awesome.
yeah. Like
They say some people have an addictive gene and some don't.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely don't think I have. I don't. Neither of my parents seem to be addicted to anything. And
Yeah.
I smoke because I love it. And then if
Mhm.
I choose not to, it's always that easy. And it's been that long since 2013 since I've taken like that much off. But every once in a while, I will just like either I'll get bored of it or once in a while I'll go, you know what? It sounds weird, I know, but I don't even feel like smoking. And sometimes I'll take like a weekend off or something. Not a lot,
Yeah.
but this year it's probably happened like at least twice, and it's like it's just so easy, for me that like when I do smoke, it's not like, oh my God, I missed you so bad. It's not like that at all. It's just like, you know what, I enjoy it. And it would be good to smoke and lift my spirits and get my vibration up. Boom, let's roll a doobie.
Yeah. I get that way with coffee where it's like I'll drink some coffee, like, and I always like coffee in the morning and stuff like that. But then I'll be at a time where like, yeah, I'm just kind of not feeling it. I'll just like not drink coffee today. Or
Yeah, same. I drink. I love coffee too. But yeah, once in a while, I'll be like, I'll just take a break today.
yeah, give me a black tea or something. I don't know. Maddie asks philosophical.
One thing that to add to that, I was surprised that I didn't feel a lot more different not smoking because I've been smoking consistently for so long, and then taking 4 months off. Certain things that I expected to feel different about, like my amount of energy, I was amazed to realize I didn't feel like I had a lot more energy.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I stressed out a whole lot either more, which I thought that I would. But I actually felt like I was more conscious of bigger, longer lists than I normally would be, and I didn't really like that. That wasn't like it could be a pro or a con,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of overthought things a little bit more, you think, when you're
I think I think what it is that I could handle having more on my brain than sometimes if I don't have as much capacity in my brain for something. You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to give you a list of 10 things and tell you, remember these 10 things, if you're smoking a lot and shit, it might be normal for you to remember 2 of them. And then you might be thinking like, fuck, that's right. I got these 10 things I got to remember. And then it becomes like a stressor because you're like, wait, I know I got 3 of them. Like, fuck, what is it? There's 4. And almost like it makes you think that you have a lot more work than you actually do. Whereas if you weren't smoking, maybe you remember the 10 things. It doesn't stress you out. And so you're not even thinking that like, oh my God, you're just thinking, oh yeah, those 10 things, here they are. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
So not that I seem to have more clarity, but it seemed like like I could hold on to more information at a time.
Yeah. That makes sense too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man,
I didn't feel like any more energetic. I thought like everything that I wanted to blame on the weed, you know, like, oh, I'd be working out more, or I'd be working on my book, or I'd be out enjoying this. But instead, I felt like just as tired, you know, on that schedule, that monotonous schedule that we were on, just the same as if I was still smoking.
If you were still smoking, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Philosophical question. What if Dominican Republic was filled with Dom clones? Says Maddie.
It might be. I've never been.
Yeah, I've never been. Maybe if so, I hope they're really good baseball players because the Dominican Republic's known for that.
That's where tourists were dying though a couple years ago, like at the hotels and shit.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
You never been to the Dominican Republic?
Puerto Rico isn't part of Dominican Republic, right? Because it's one of our
I don't think so.
territories. Is Dominican Republic one of our territories or no?
No, I don't think so.
I don't believe I've been there, but I think it's right by Jamaica, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty close at least.
And by Bahamas. Like I can see it on a map. I don't think I've been there.
Yeah. I'd like to go though.
Go.
Yeah,
Just go.
I should.
You
I wonder
should.
if they give me a free pass because my name's Dominic.
Yeah.
How that works. B Needler.
And the Republic is like a bunch of stormtroopers that are all dumb.
That's all me. Oh my god. They'd be the most disorganized stormtroopers of all time.
Actually, the Republic was the X-Wing fighters, the good guys, right?
Yeah, they were the good guys. That's right.
The Empire
Yeah.
versus the Republic, I think.
Yeah, the Empire versus So it would be all a bunch of Dom solos, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
BB
Dom C. Wait.
Dom CPO.
Dom too. Never mind.
RV Dom.
Not worth it.
Oh man. That'll be an interesting Photoshop to do. B Needler. Is being 32 years with a lingering adductor injury out of shape, but I dance salsa too late to start wrestling school for fun? A lingering adductor injury out of shape, but I dance salsa. Is it too late for him to start wrestling school with some of those issues there, Rob?
No, there's no rule. There's no rule against that. As long as you realize you go on that the odds might be against you over somebody younger that doesn't have a sprained groin or whatever you got there. But man, those things can last for years too. But yeah, I mean, you know, if you're hurt, that's gonna make it harder if you're in your 30s instead of 20. I don't know necessarily that's because physically, I think you can be in better shape at 30 than 20. 20-year-olds a lot of times are still like built like kids. You're still growing until you're 26 anyway. So, so I would say, you know, just the fact. I think that like where the age would work against you is just learning something new at 32. You know, over like. I don't know, for me, like right out of high school, I started wrestling. So I was learning to be an adult while I was traveling with these crazy people. So, so that really affected who I would become, but also it was easier than like, if I already started like another career, was 10 years in, you know, to being a cop. And then all of a sudden I switch, you know, and, but unless it's an athlete or whatever. The answer is no. If you think you can do it, if you believe in you, I believe in you.
Yeah.
But you got to be realistic with yourself. That's all. And, you know, I would never do it just for fun. I don't think. I mean, because it's something that, man, there's such a serious side to it that I don't think I would want to do a career of it just for fun. Maybe local, maybe like a local thing, and maybe getting into like some local shows and maybe even promoting local shows if it's all just fun. But man, can you imagine like getting in the ring with, man, times are changing now, because I'm thinking like getting your ass kicked by like Bob Holly or Chris Benoit, you know, like someone that like respect the business so much that they wanted to smack that smirk off your face, and you're like, but it's fun.
I'm having a great time.
And it is getting to be more like that, more work-friendly environment, safe for all ages. It is becoming more and more like that, but that is still such a big part of it. I don't see that going away, at least not for generations.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's there's still that aspect of like, hey, you just think you can come in here and do it kind of thing. There is that
Yeah,
aspect.
you might not think it's real fun when someone's shitting in your bag.
Yeah, that's definitely not riding Space Mountain on that one.
No.
Yeah, no, my brother Marcus, he started when he was 37 and he's been doing it. So he's liking it. And if you just have a little, I would just be sure to make sure your injury's all right. But if you're dancing salsa and you're only 32, just get yourself in the right mindset, I guess, for it. But
32 is pretty young.
32 is pretty darn young. Absolutely. So give it a spinneroonie, if you will, B. Needler. Let's see here. Okay, brain traumatizer. Been smoking weed every day for 20 years and was an RVD mark before that. LOL. He's right about the strains. Going to the shop, choosing different stuff definitely helps. So
Yeah, there's a lot you don't know when you're just a first level smoker. You know what I mean? I remember when I was smoking shitty weed. It was the kind that would poke holes in your plastic bag. It was like sticks. It was like brown, half stems,
Oh,
quarter seeds, and then a quarter of quote unquote bud. Hey, why do they say quote unquote before the word? Shouldn't it be quote bud unquote?
yeah, that's what I would think, right?
Who came up with that rule?
I don't know. Some
Fucked up.
Yeah, some definitely wasn't Mark Twain, right?
Last week you were asking, or maybe it was the week before, but you asked me about like, is there a mafia story that I would like to see made into a movie?
Yeah.
And I very passionately said yes. The story out here in Las Vegas about Crazy Horse 2.
Yes.
Well, often as I do, I replay some of my conversation in my head later on. It repeats itself and I find mistakes. And I just want to say, because I said, if anyone wants to see this episode on unsolved murders, I said that it was called Death in a Hotel Room, but it's actually, and then I thought about afterwards and I'm like, well, it's a Motel 6, so it's got to be motel, not hotel. So it's Death in a Motel Room. No, Death in a Las Vegas Motel. I don't know if room is on there or not. It could be Death in a Las Vegas Motel, or it could be Death in a Las Vegas Motel Room. I think room's on there. But anyway, that's from the Unsolved Murders, and it's the story of Buffalo Jim and his ongoing dispute with the Crazy Horse 2 strip club owner, Rick Rizzolo, out here. And man, I've been stuck on this wormhole for a couple of days, trying to learn as much information as I can about that whole situation. And I learned, some stuff that I didn't know. Like one of them, so there's a guy named Tony Albanese, and Tony Albanese is also called Tony Paradise. He works with the mob. He's a mobster, and he has a bunch of massage parlors, strip clubs in Southern California. He wants to move into Vegas, and he starts doing that. And he has a place in a strip mall out here on Flamingo and Paradise, and he buys the place and calls it the Crazy Horse, and it's a strip club. And he bought that in fucking 1977. So that's right in the fucking middle of like the casino movie time period when Tony Splatter's out here. Tony comes out like 71, he dies in 86. So this story starts right in the middle of that. In 77, he opens the Crazy Horse Saloon out on Flamingo and Paradise. And then the very next year in 78, he acquires this other property off of Sahara and Industrial Boulevard. The owner dies, Billy Joel. It was called Billy Joel's. It was a discotheque. He buys that calls it Billy Joel's Crazy Horse 2. And this place stayed there from fucking 1978 until 2022 when they just fucking tore it down.
What?
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Holy shit.
Fucking amazing. So he owns it in 1978. And then it seems to be Tony Spilatro and his enforcers muscling in on the sex industry. And fucking Tony Paradise is killed. He's missing first. And this is 1981. They find his head out in the desert by a town called Needles. And they mention it in the movie Casino. And I hear this guy, they found his head out in the desert. You know anything about that? I heard something about it. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
That was Tony Paradise. And then a temporary guy ran the Crazy Horse 2. And then Rick Rizzolo's dad, Bart Rizzolo, bought it and Rick ran it. And then Rick ended up acquiring the majority interest. But this was way the fuck back in like the mid 80s. And then maybe 88 when Rick took over. And then he owned that thing and fucking ran it like with the mob, like way up. Like I say, it finally, like 2006, he was told to sell it. He was running it while it was for sale, and there was a bunch of buys that almost went through. People that were supposed to buy it, yeah, I'll give you $30 million for it, and then they would fall through or whatever, and that kept dragging on and on and on. And then I think it was 2016, homeless people apparently started a fire and it burnt part of it, and there was another fire, and then in 22 they finally raised it and destroyed it. But man, what a crazy story! All the lawsuits from customers that got beat up and were one guy died. One guy that beat him up and broke his neck, and he died. And when Rick Rizzolo would go to court over these things, who would represent him but Oscar Goodman?
Oh, yeah.
Oscar Goodman, who was our mayor and who was the lawyer for Tony Spilatro, played himself in Casino, and he represented a lot of the mobsters, and he represented Rick Rizzolo and got him out of a lot of trouble, got him variances in the codes when he wanted to expand the club. So when he bought it, it had 1,600 square feet, and he went from 1,600 to 26,000 square feet, and it was just like the biggest, hottest strip club in Vegas for a while, and all the celebrities went there. Jenna Jameson worked there for a minute.
Holy shit!
I told you Godfather worked there, and he knew all the guys. He was right there during that time. Another name popped up today: Gorgeous George, the girl.
Oh, the girl. Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Apparently, yeah. Somebody I was reading a comments on one of the things that was posted from years ago, and somebody said in there that they met Gorgeous George in there, and that she was I guess working there or friends with the people, that the staff or whatever, the way that it was mentioned. So someone else, I want to pick her head now when I get a chance.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
So okay, so if you were to do the sequel and they made you the executive producer, and they're like, Rob, we need one main character that it focuses and surrounds around, would it be Rick Rizzolo? Who would you make that the focal point of the second movie sequel?
It might be, I mean, it's hard to say anything other than fucking Jim Barrier's Buffalo Jim, the wrestler who had an ongoing feud with Rick Rizzolo for years and years because he had his auto body shop attached to the building, and Rick Rizzolo wanted to kick him out so he could expand. And so he was an informant. He would take pictures of all the crimes, people doing drugs or fucking in the limos or beating people up in the parking lot or whatever. He was always reporting that. He said one time Rick Rizzolo shot a dog in the parking lot, killed it for no reason, just to be an asshole. And, he reported that. He was always reporting Rick to the FBI, and Rick, and he would get threats, phone calls, from alleged mobsters saying that they were going to kill him and this and that. And then he ended up dead that one day, which was mysteriously, I guess, like one day after Rick Rizzolo got out of jail. And that's the focus of the Unsolved Murder that you can watch that show. That's the focus of that. And that would, not only would that make it easier to make into a movie, but it seems like the right thing to do to tell this, to tell, because you can't go with Rick Rizzolo and be, I don't know. I mean, it'd be hard to make. I don't know. I guess you could do whatever you want and tell any side. It's just hard to consider him being a babyface. It's hard for him to consider even being likable or put in a mood or in the light where he would carry the story as a protagonist. You know what I mean?
It seemed like Buffalo Jim would be the guy to go with, and he could
or do one of those things where you tell like 3 different stories at the same time. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat too. Yeah, that'd be neat.
I'd be all for this movie, 3 different angles. I mean, 3 different things going on that meet in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like an investigation, because it was the city, Las Vegas City Metro, that was investigating Rick Rizzolo first, and then the FBI got involved and turned it into a RICO case. And then when they got busted, there was like 80 to 100 police officers there, and they said DEA was there, the FBI, the Metro, the IRS, fucking who else was there? Environment Protection Agency. There was like so many different groups there to raid the Crazy Horse 2 and it's take all their records and furniture and everything to try to tear him down. They opened up later on that night though.
Like fuck it.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild though. Man. Jem the Dawn says, imagine getting violently kicked out of the club by the Godfather.
Right. Yeah. Man, someday I gotta like really pick his brain on some, I hear some of the same vague stuff from him always, and he's always talking like, man, yeah, sometime, but sometime I gotta, okay, now's the time, Charles.
Look us up.
Because I'm etching guys,
Yeah.
Like,
is he pretty fascinated by the mafia stuff too, or?
Oh, he takes more of an attitude to where they were just friends and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Joey Blasco wasn't a disgraced former Metro officer that got fired for giving information to the bad guys and then joined Tony Spilatro's gang and then became bartender at Crazy Horse 2 to Godfather. To him, he was just Joey B. Good guy.
Yeah. Wow. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Such crazy circumstances.
Yeah.
Maddie has a funny one here. Did Sabu show up when your power went out? No, he didn't. I would have needed all the help I could get though, because I couldn't see for shit.
Why would Sabu show up?
I don't know, because he froze the one time we had him on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was also thinking he used to always come out to the arena with the lights out. It wasn't
Maybe
always.
that's probably what Maddie's referring to then.
Yeah. Lights go out and come on, and there he is.
Sabu!
Wow, this joke is lasting forever.
How about that?
Letting it go out.
Dang. Well, here's a hot question here. You versus Triple H in real life, who wins? Asks Ricky Jordan.
I'm gonna leave that one up to the fans to speculate and guess on.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good answer. Frankie Teresa with the $2. Do you collect knives or other weapons? What kinds, if so?
Yeah, I used to have more of a collection, and then when I moved, I got rid of a bunch of stuff. But I do still have like some knives and swords, and I like it enough to where like it catches my eye if I'm at somewhere. It's usually like flea market-y stuff where they have like booths that have all the cool stuff. There used to be a place in Hollywood I went to that was near the studio when I was doing T-Radio V and doing Rob Van Dam Live at the studio almost across the street. It was on Santa Monica and Vine. there was a place I used to go and I'd get like every time I'd buy like a new blade and bring it home. And some of them are like hidden, like I got a little statue of like a girl sitting on a pedestal, and you grab the girl and you pull it up and she's the handle of a blade, and you would never know. And I used to think it was cool to just have stuff like that all around my house to grab, and scare people, scare my friends if they were coming over at the same time. But, what do you say now, motherfucker? They're like, don't do that, Rob.
Come on. Oh, hey.
But so yeah, I have a lot of the stuff that from then. I'm not really sure what all I got rid of, but I mean, I'm looking at I have a sword above my sliding door. I think that girl is over there I see her, the girl that I was talking about in the pedestals in the fireplace. And then around the corner in the TV room, I have a blade hanging on the wall right there within reach. And same thing in my office back here. And then upstairs in the bedroom, I got a couple in the bedroom too, including a hand grip that's got blades, coming out of it. That shit was cool, but also I kind of like having it placed conveniently, like feeling like, in case of glass, in case emergency break glass, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Is that your scary letter opener you're talking about?
Yeah, actually they all are. Anytime I open a letter, I'm using one of those things.
Just like when you're unboxing stuff, you're like, I'm like, cut away from you, Rob.
Exactly.
Jeez. All right. That's all I really got, Rob, for today.
Here's something I got.
All right.
Okay. This is the value talk.
Ooh.
Consider it RVDology if you want, but it's not really structured with a story of how I learned about this or whatever. But I want to go out on a limb and say that one of the reasons that I think mainstream people would consider RVD extreme is because I smoke weed, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So likewise, another reason mainstream media or the mainstream world would think RVD's extreme, maybe a little too extreme. I use adult language, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Because that's something that people are going to have to fucking get used to now. I'm always ahead of my time, with a lot of things. I knew pot was going to be legal. I mean, I came up with everybody's moves, the style today, forever ago, in a lot of ways, But one of the ways too is I've always thought that trying to prohibit adult language or censor your free speech in any way just always sounded ridiculous to me. Not if you're in school. If you're like, okay, this is elementary school, you're not allowed to swear, you'll get in trouble. Okay, whatever. I mean, I'm not even sure I agree with that, but okay, whatever. But to be taught that I don't have the right to choose, because when you think about it, fuck, truck, suck, was saying fuck any worse, and we've talked about this a lot, but for anybody that's not used to this conversation, shouldn't it be the intention that you would want to control, if anything, not the words, because the words don't even mean the same thing in the same languages, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, if I say, you know what, Dom? I'm going to smack the crap out of you next time I see you. That should come across more offensively than if I say, man, Dom, I really fucking enjoy your company, bro. I hope you're doing good. Now, the first one should come across more offensively, but I didn't swear. And that's one of the reasons it's not made sense to me. Using common sense, it should be the intention, if anything, but also you should not have control over the intention of what I say either. And you don't. We have free speech. It's the First Amendment. But I know that a lot of people think that one of my lesser qualities is vulgarity. And I get that. But it's real world talk to me. I don't have much of a filter when I'm being myself, and I'm not purposely catering towards children or something like that. But now that Raw is on Netflix, they're able to swear. Now what? Now kids are going to learn it's not just those extreme wrestlers from ECW that use the F word, ECF and W. Now they're going to learn all the other wrestlers swear too, because I'm seeing it. They're allowed to say that on Netflix. And guess what? That's going to normalize it. So I just want to point that out. Kids and people that choose to be offended by adult language, they're going to have to get used to it being normalized, because on Monday Night Raw, just like on everything else, you're hearing more and more swear words as the thought of having censored language diminishes. And that's the way that it should be. So I just wanted to point that out, make that a point, that when you're watching Netflix, the guy that you thought might be your favorite because he's so clean cut, I don't care if it's Cody Rhodes, I don't care if it's Jey Uso, whoever, you might hear them say shit or fuck or damn. And I'm just warning you.
Well, I've definitely heard Cody say fuck, because he told The Rock, he's like, fuck off, Rock, or whatever it was. I think that was that Elimination Chamber.
Now, is that going to crack some people? Are they going to literally like break in half because this is so against their unrealistic beliefs?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's
toughen up, Buttercup.
That's it. Hey, Rob, you're a good fucking dude. You know that?
Hey.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No one swore at you.
Oh, man. Dang it. All right. Well, enough of this crap.
Cool. Well,
hey.
Yo.
This was a good one. A lot of people are saying, Frankie says, Dom, I think this is the best episode I've watched. Positive flow. Kyle Z says, really, really good. And yeah, Jem the Don says, you could say the show is 5 stars. So you did an episode here. How about that?
Mission accomplished. Well, I am going to be on the road this weekend for this show in Monroe, Michigan, which is right outside of Detroit.
Ooh.
It's posted at RobVanDam.com. I don't know the name of it. It's Rhino's show. Rhino's got something to do with it.
Oh.
And it's a Friday and Saturday show, but I will be there Saturday only.
Saturday only. So it is May 2nd through May 3rd. It is Insane Wrestling, IWR. Insane Wrestling presents. Rhino, Heath, Kurt Angle, Tom Latimer are also there May 2nd and May 3rd. Frenchtown Municipal Complex. So if you have interest, go to www.purplepass.com/IWF1. So there you go.
Which Insane Wrestling, I believe, is what ICW was in Scotland too, in Glasgow.
Yeah, it was. They were Insane Wrestling
Insane Championship Wrestling.
Championship Wrestling. Yep, and this is Insane Wrestling Revolution.
Little synchronicity there.
Yeah, how about that? Wow, tying it all in. Cool. And then, guys, as far as anything else goes, if you like what you're watching, be sure to hit subscribe, whether you're on RVD's YouTube channel or you're at RVDTV.com. Also, if you haven't yet, be sure to sign up for Only Wrestlers, onlywrestlers.com. Go there, set up your free account, and sign up for RVD's account for free. Sign up for Katie's account for free. And the I almost said IWC, the Only Wrestlers account for free as well. And then there's plenty of other talent on there. And if you're a talent, sign up too. Get your own account on there too. You can start creating content on there. So be sure to do that and join the new wave. Because Rob, you're going to Chicago for, and then the next one announced is it in New Orleans? Is that correct?
That's right, Nolans. Wow. Big Easy. Yeah, so May 29th is Chicago. July something. I'm not sure when the date is. I think sometime in July, which is hot as fuck in July in New Orleans, now that I think about it. But yeah, man, we're growing and doing the shows is helping a lot. A lot of the wrestlers want to work, want to wrestle, and a lot of them are joining because of that. Because we're only booking the wrestlers that are on our platform. That and by the way, this is an open invite to everybody, to wrestlers. Look at onlywrestlers.com. See if it's something for you. It's a platform for you to use, so you can keep in touch with your followers to the extent that you want to. A whole lot or not so much. And also it's an invite for anybody else too. Fans, check it out. And just remember, we're improving all the time. So we're always fixing bugs. If there was a problem with it letting you vote last week, check back in again, because every time we get a comment from anybody, and it helps a lot too. So let us know. Every once in a while, somebody will say, "Hey, what happened? I tried to join. It wouldn't let take my credit card or whatever." Boom, that goes straight to the techie people, so that we can say, "Fix this shit. We're trying to be big, man. Can't be fucking around like this no more." And then they fix it.
Yeah. Do you use that language though, Rob? Do you use that language when you do that?
Only when I'm on Netflix.
Oh, okay, good.
They don't. Yeah, they're Indian. I don't know if they know what that means.
They might not be familiar. So sign up, guys. Onlywrestlers.com. As far as anything else goes, you can be sure to go to RVD420.com and get some Greek glass, some good glassware. I got to see that at the Nerd Bar. They do a good job at Greek glass. Here's a couple of them there. Boom, boom, boom. And there's plenty more new ones out there too. So go to RVD420.com. Check that out right now or after we're done here. And I think that's it. Oh, one more thing. If you're not familiar, One True Sport has merged. We are now called Brass Ring Media. We're part of a new thing that we're going to do writing and newsletters and live stuff on the same channels that we typically do. So go to onetruesporttv.com for now. Check it out. We're going to be making some changes there and some new content coming there too. So we appreciate everybody joining in on that. You get to tune in sometimes on RVD's Twitter X account with that. What I want to do too is make sure that we promote Only Wrestlers on all these programs too as well. So get the word out about it. So.
Fuck yeah. And we're adding new features, but I think it's next week we'll be able to talk about it, because
all right. Well,
we always growing,
It's getting bigger.
Always got plans bigger than today.
A lot damn bigger each week, week in and week out. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining in.
We had a lot longer walk plan, didn't we? It was a lot longer.
It was a lot longer.
You know what that is?
No, what is that?
Oh, I'm not sure if I got DDP's part right, but that was what Lex said when he got up to the podium. He said, I took a bump getting into the Uber. We had a much longer walk plan, didn't we? And DDP said, either said it was longer or it was a lot longer. I'm not sure what he said. I don't know why that's in my head, just because I was thinking, like, he took a bump getting into his Uber. Oh my God.
Damn.
Yeah.
I still got to watch it. I got to watch the Hall of Fame stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
They had a lot longer planned.
Mm-hmm.
But he still stood up and took a couple of steps, and that was awesome.
Sweet.
That was my favorite part.
That's so good. Yeah, I'm so happy for Lex. He's a really good dude. So I'm happy that he finally got the bang, bro. All right, we'll see you next time here on One of a Kind with who? Not DDP. It's with RV.
Get my fucking knuckles all.
Dang, Rob. Man, you've been doing some straight jabs.
They ugly as fuck.